Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I'm surfing, I'm swag, I'm surfing, I'm swag, I'm surfing, I'm cool like Mr. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Rap Game After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. It's your boy Nino, and I'm here with the other boys, but Lem is unfortunately not feeling too well, so I'm taking over today. But he's still here, y'all, because he loves the rap game.
I'm still here. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Lem Gonsalves. I got my super sexy R&B status jumping off.
Yes.
But I'm still here. You can find me at The Poet Saint all day, every day.
There you go. And featured on JD's Instagram twice, y'all. Twice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's
Mr.
right.
At JJ the Talented Joshua Johnson. What's going on, man?
Thank you. What's up, y'all? Happy MLK Day to ya. I am your boy Joshua Johnson. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at JJ the Talented.
And over there, Mr. Inspirational, Mr. Jimmy V. What's going on, dude?
What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Jimmy V. I can be found on Twitter and Instagram at Be Your Own Dad. And big shout out to Jermaine Dupri, of course. He did post our after show
sure.
on
Thank
his
you,
Instagram.
thank you so
Shout
much.
out to him.
Thank you so
Show some
much.
love.
There we go. We've been getting a lot of love on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube about the show. So thank you guys. Keep on continuing comment, and we'll come back and we'll talk to you most def. But this is season 1, episode 3, Style and Swagga, y'all.
Style and Swagga.
You know, style and swag, and style and swag. Hey. And this one, this episode, I really dug. Because I used to be a stylist back in the day.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And then I worked into brand marketing. Oh, right. Okay, let's pop the colors for a little bit. But I worked into brand marketing, so I could understand how important your branding and your aesthetic is to the consumers. What do y'all think about this episode?
I definitely agree 100%. I mean, you can have bars, but if you don't have the look that actually goes with the bars, it just doesn't add up. So I get you.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. Image is everything, and the first impression that people get of you is probably the lasting impression that they have.
Right.
So if you're not, I don't know, if you don't look on point, then most times they'll just dismiss you.
Well, and what was dope is I was taken back to like junior high school when he did the whole crisscross and he said how he had the backwards. Like I remember that, and I remember wearing my clothes backwards.
Right.
My jeans and my shirt, you know, trying to be like crisscross.
I could
so
relate
it's
with
very
that, but
important.
my mom
Very
would
important.
have me
And there's
turn it
a
around.
fine line between like looking unique and, you know, having your own style and own spin to it. But you got to give what the consumers and what the mass, you know, what the masses kind of want as well too. So there was a part in here where Super Peach and Mama Peach, you know, wanted to give the island flavor. And I definitely, I'm the first person to be like, advocate, do your thing, you know, represent for your country, represent where you're from. But once again, like I said, you're gonna have to pull back a little bit, maybe put a little sprinkle of you know where you're from into there. And then let the rest coincide, especially with the matching situation, yo.
Yeah, it has to appeal, I think, to the masses.
Definitely.
And that's the thing. I mean, you want people to be able to emulate your style, and it has to be something fresh and new and popping. And, you know, she kept mentioning the whole island vibe or whatever. I mean, I think about Rihanna. Rihanna's from Barbados.
That's what came to my mind too.
I thought about that right away, and it's like, yeah, of course, she's from the island. She represents Barbados, but she still knows that her style has to be emulated by everybody.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. But let's just get into it a little bit more. I mean, the episode first started off with the kids around the table making beats. And Miss Mulatto was putting together some stuff. Lil Poopy was getting to it. They were all getting to it.
Yeah.
Super Peach wasn't there for the first beginning part. You saw that? And she popped in later on, but I was like, oh, wait, are the kids, this is just in my head, but are the kids, you know, all coming together and Peach is doing her own thing with her mom and her sister and herself?
I wouldn't be surprised at that because we saw in this episode that Super Peach and her mom are kind of an item on their own, off to the side, trying to separate themselves from the rest of the pack, doing their own thing. So for Super Peach not to be with the other kids in that scene with the group, I could definitely see. I'm not surprised at that at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we see Papa Louis talking to Lil Poopy, and we see once again the burden that he has on his shoulders trying to get everything together. Papa Louis is feeling this a little bit more this time because he called Lil Poopy's dad, right? And was like, I don't want to tell him that he was, at X amount of spot and not at number one.
Right.
You know, how do you think that must feel for somebody to have to bring home the trophy? You know what I mean? Like it's a must. It's a ride or die type thing for them.
I mean, these people are in a competition, and we notice, like, when we get the introductions from them at the beginning of the first episode, we see all of them are at the top of their game in their respective classes. You know, they all have, you know, all of these hits. You know, they're known for being great at where they are in their genre. So to come here and now it being a competition, everybody wants to be number one. So, but everybody can't be number one all the time. So there's this kind of hierarchy to do. And when Poopy was, or when Louis was talking to Poopy's dad, he was just like, yo, you need to make sure, you know, you could tell that it's in him to do well. And he didn't want to say it because for fear, like, I don't want him to worry. Because, and I think also Louis was like, I'm going to make sure he gets to that top spot. And that way he won't have to worry about it. We're going to take care of it.
You can tell Papa Louis is serious about his job.
Oh,
His number one task is to make Lil Poopy number one and to have him win the competition. But what I will note is that, you know, we don't know at this point who wins the competition. But with a show like this, because of the exposure that comes from it, if you don't win, you could still get something.
Just like American Idol, right?
Just like American Idol. Something's going to come out of it.
Absolutely.
And these kids are now at a level of exposure, national exposure, that they probably didn't have in their respective regions for the most part. I mean, they were on YouTube and getting views, but this brings them more to the public eye.
Oh, of course.
Most definitely. Yeah, this went from 24,000 to, you know, 3 point whatever million, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So, definitely interesting. But let's get into the actual challenge, y'all. I'm excited because JD brought in Miss April Rahman, his stylist from LA, to the ATL to get things started. I've been excited too. Like, I'm going to get to go shop on a shopping spree with JD's stylist. But then we pulled up to the Goodwill.
Which is actually...
Okay. I can feel that, though. Yeah.
I definitely liked how JD... put that switch up on it, because you can't start them in, you know, Gucci, you know, blah blah blah. You know, have them start low. The assignment was $30 in 30 minutes. Make it happen. And then, as we saw last week, not everybody can follow the rules, and we saw that happen once again.
Anywhere else, $30 might get you a shirt, or a t-shirt, maybe. You know, but they had to stretch it at the Goodwill. For sure.
They got the cracking prices at the Goodwill if you really look. And as you can tell, some pieces that they pulled were actually pretty legit. Lil Poopy, I was really surprised he got that fun outfit together. Granted, you know, they said that.
No,
I was actually laughing though, because he's like, man, I'm used to rocking, you know, designer clothes, all this stuff. And then I was just thinking, man, he's only 12. Like, it's so funny.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but that shirt that Lil Poopy ended up with, I have that same shirt.
No, you don't.
I do. I have that same shirt, and I've seen that since I bought that shirt. I've seen that on about 5 different guys. That same shirt, and I'm like,
where
oh
did you
man,
get it from?
I got it from H&M.
Oh, you did?
There you go.
I got it from H&M.
Well, now that Poopy had it on, I
should
think
wear it
about
next week.
20
Or was it Old
more
Navy?
people
Was H&M or Old Navy?
had it on, so.
It's the same thing.
But I mean,
Same thing, right?
Same thing.
the importance, we talked about it. The importance of the whole situation was that, you know,
Following directions.
following directions, and also kind of like humbling yourself in the situation too. When you're with the indie label, perhaps, you know, in the beginning, that money's almost coming out of your pocket.
Right.
You know
You're
what I
not
mean?
gonna have the same budget.
You're
that you
definitely
would
not
for
going to
a
have the
major.
same budget. So you're going to have to make things work as they come along.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I would be taking the critiques from April left and right. Like, what do you think? This, you know what I mean? I get it, you have 30 minutes in your zone, but when somebody's giving you, you know, like almost like another hand.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would have taken that and asked millions of questions. Try to have her shop with me the whole time. You know what I mean?
I think what I saw a lot with this episode, in particular in dealing with the stylist, is that a lot of the parents really think that they know what they they know what their child
they
needs.
know what's best.
They know what's best for them in relation to their style.
Right.
And I think a lot of them were caught off guard because when they brought, when they finally, put an outfit together and they brought it for the photo shoot, she was like, this is not good.
Right.
Miss Mulatto wasn't good. Of course, Super Peach was not good. I mean, mostly everybody with the exception of Poopy.
Right.
And even Poopy got critiques.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it just goes to show that you have to be able to pay attention, to the people that know what they're doing.
Exactly.
This is her wheelhouse. You are not a stylist. You may think you are. She is a stylist. You need to listen. And I think Jermaine Dupri is doing this to see who can listen, pay attention, and follow directions.
Right.
And I think a lot of people are struggling with them. And it's funny because it's not just the rappers, the kids, it's the parents.
It's the parents.
It's the managers.
And I think most times it'll be the parents. It'll always be the parents who are kind of throwing a little a cog, a little hitch in the cog of the machine, because I feel like the parents always want to have their say. They need to have their say. And a lot of times it's like you said, they need to step back and just let the experts do what they do.
Right. Oh yeah, it's one-on-one case of being a stage parent. You know what I mean? And I think it's also hard to like detract from that too when your kid's in that limelight in that situation. So I can understand the parents, but they're gonna definitely in this situation with something so big on the line, they're gonna have to step back a little bit and really listen. And let's move on to the actual shoot and what people wore and stuff, because there were some parents who were actually just kind of stepped back a little bit, kept it in their heads, but still went along with it. But in their heads, they really were like, no, my person's number one. You know what I mean?
Mulatto's dad was one.
Mulatto's dad was one.
Right. He's always
one.
gonna ride for Mulatto because that's her dad.
Right. But he paid attention and he
did.
said, okay, I understand what you're saying. Even though he didn't necessarily agree in his mind, he still allowed her to do what she did.
Professionals are professionals, right?
I actually did want to ask you guys, a topic right before was Super Peach and this cape. Do you guys
love the
feel
cape.
like she needs the cape?
Keep the cape, Super Peach. I love the cape because we saw in, I think it was episode 2 when they went in the studio. Super Peach went in the studio with her cape, and I felt like it was one of those things. You know how artists have their thing that they do in the studio to kind of get them in the mood, to get them going, to get them focused on the music. And I saw her put that cape on, and I'm like, okay, when the cape is on, Super Peach is about to be super. You know what I'm saying? And just go all in. And so I appreciated it in episode 2. And I think she should keep it because she's Super Peach. Why not have the cape? That could be her thing.
Okay. Well,
I think it's corny.
okay.
I do, and the only reason why I think it's even suggested is because she's 12 years old. Because you wouldn't do that to a grown person. I mean, let's keep it real.
Right.
No grown person is gonna wear a cape and be like, "Yeah, son, I got bars, son."
Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
Nino.
I don't know, man. Hip-hop is different now, man.
I'm gonna sit in the middle of you guys. You know what I mean? I definitely think it is a corny situation, but she is 12, and I saw them trying to do this with Miss Mulatto, where they were trying to basically keep her in correct age format, kind of age demographic. So I think what JD meant by that was it's good for right now.
It's good for right now.
For right now, but it's hard because with Miss Mulatto's she's 17 now. She was 16 then. She's at the older teens. So her demographic, she can't. If she sits at that Disney demographic, it's gonna be hard for her to pull out. And we've seen how hard it is for kids to pull out of that demo, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then so she's kind of in that weird stage where she's like, I could dress a little bit more provocative, but I can't go over the top.
Right.
I honestly think I've seen her Instagrams. I've seen all that other stuff that she has. I actually think she sits perfectly fine right now in most of her outfits. I'll say 90% of her outfits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, there's a 10% there, though. There's a 10% there, though.
Like,
But I wanted to say to Lem though. You said earlier in the episode that you were rocking the backwards crisscross clothing.
Absolutely.
So I'm saying
Absolutely.
I can see the kids on the schoolyard putting on the cape, being like either I'm Super Peach or I'm Super Me, whatever.
In middle
because-
school though, right?
Yeah, middle school because
Yeah.
that's like you said, that's the age group.
Exactly.
And they
I
would
think
emulate that.
I think that like we saw it was first Little Bow Wow and it turned to Bow Wow. So I think if she keeps the cape, it'll be Super Peach. And then I think as she hits those
Peach?
older ages,
Just
I think
Peach-
she'll
Peaches
drop
and
out
cream
the cape.
and then-
Now I'm Peach.
Yeah.
All right. So
No, that totally makes sense.
I think it's that
And I
kind
think
of situation.
It'll be a smart, progressive thing to do as they go along with the whole situation.
Yeah.
As they get older, but definitely, I feel like it's a little corny too. I feel you.
Well,
I feel you.
again, her name is Super Peach, so for her
Merchandise,
to have a cape,
though.
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
For her to have a cape makes sense. I'm just saying, personally, my opinion is I think it's a little corny, but I'm also not 12.
Right.
I'm also not going to be her demographic.
Right.
So her demographic, you're setting her, you know, building a brand for her. She's super beach. Yes, it makes sense for her to have a cape. I see that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, for me, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's go into the individual shoots. So,
Sure.
Miss Mulatto, y'all gonna, I don't know what y'all gonna think, but I thought Wicked Witch from the South was okay. I thought it looked fine
you
to
liked
me.
it?
I actually was like, all right, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
I
My
wasn't
first
mad.
thought was Wizard
Yes.
of Oz. I don't know why. Wizard of Oz,
Okay.
the Wicked Witch. I was like, what is there with this hat and this purple? Like, that's no.
I liked-
And then the coat, the jacket. I'm like, no, not at all. Don't do it. And they were like, and her dad was all feeling it. Like, yeah,
dad
she
was
looked like
he
an
was behind her
eclectic.
100%.
What do you say? What was this comment about? Eclectic woman from the South, or something like
Something
that.
like that. And it was like crickets.
Yeah,
Clink, clink, clink,
it was
clink.
not happening. I mean, no shade, but I'm just saying.
Right.
To me, I wasn't feeling the outfit.
I did like her outfit, everything besides the lipstick, because it does make her look more grown than what she is.
Sure,
and if the
right, sure.
demographic is teens, then, you know, stick to what teens actually wear.
Right.
So,
It's a little. It was a little vampy. You know what I mean? And like, when I think of vampy, I think of like a little bit more seductive and a little bit older.
Sure.
You know, when I see that, but no, I wasn't mad at the coat. I wasn't mad at what she
You
was
like the
wearing.
coat, huh?
You know,
Coat's
I think
cool.
if the hat was off too, I think it would probably be even better.
Yeah.
To show that curl, you know, the curls that she has.
Did you guys like what the stylist picked for her afterwards?
Okay.
I mean, all she did was switch up the hat
switch the
and
hat. She
gave her a
gave her,
scarf, right? Or
Right.
She gave her
something like that.
Gilligan's Island
Yeah,
professor
yeah.
hat.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think, though? Did you think it made it better?
I thought it was the same look. All she
I
did
did-
was switch up a hat.
Okay.
the scarf was cool.
I think before
like that.
and after each of these changes, I thought it was all terrible. That was my opinion. I'm not a stylist.
Right.
All of them?
All of them.
Most of them.
I don't know,
With the
though.
exception of with the exception of Poopy and Nico.
Oh, you're saying everybody.
Yeah,
Really?
I wasn't doing the style.
no.
Lyrics
switched up.
Lyrics
No, no,
was
We
up.
switched up.
No, but Lyric went from she went from at first like Left Eye to T-Boz. Like she looked like TLC.
Right.
I
She
was
did.
I was like, what is this?
I was
Who
not a
suggested
bad
that for her?
comparison. Actually. That was,
Did you see
that? Was
that?
actually
She
good
went,
vid.
like it was a totally 90s with it was like a plaid
Right.
Yes.
shirt tied around the waist.
Looked like she had on
with the
sweatpants.
pants. Yeah, and I was like, this is no. What?
No, she's looking like me right now. I was like, I'm really comfy right now. Y'all can't see underneath here, but I'm
Yeah,
really
down
comfy.
beneath. Either we don't
Yeah.
have pants or we have sweatpants. I don't know. Whatever.
No, we have pants, y'all. Don't
No,
forget, we have
do.
pants.
We have pants.
Definitely have pants on.
Right.
But no, I actually I like the red. I don't know. Okay, just because it gave her this demeanor when she came from around the corner, you actually saw it, and you saw it in her face. Like her face sits really bored at times. Like when she's being shot, or she's just kind of just chilling. She has that resting. It's just a resting face. You know what I mean? Just like very.
Yeah.
But when she had that on, she was feeling herself. She was smiling. She was moving, her cheek a little bit more this way. Blah blah blah. She was giving like something. And I think that confidence exuded in her, and it just made it so much better. I was feeling the throwback, loose, TLC vibe situation that she had.
I liked it.
You didn't
I
think it
liked
was a little bit, even though it wasn't like a suggestive outfit.
Right.
You don't think it was a little bit like the age group for that? It wasn't a little bit too old for her.
I see what you're saying. I do see why the stylist did it, because you look at the color red and what it did for her. She's been critiqued on as having, she's very shy, very introverted. And so I think that outfit it brought out in her for the photo shoot. For her rocking it like as a daily wear, no, I can't see her just wearing it.
Yeah.
For the sake of the photo shoot, yes, I think it was good for her, and you could see the difference in the pictures.
And now, as the stylist was saying this, picture if this was your album cover.
Right.
Is she gonna sell albums with sweatpants on?
No.
No.
You're not gonna sell with that red outfit. To be honest, I don't
We
think
know how
so.
JJ's feeling today.
I'm hating on everybody.
Right.
Yes. No.
But no, and she actually failed pretty hard on the challenge though, because she only had the pants from Goodwill.
Right.
Compared, to some other people who almost had 2 outfits.
Yeah.
But Lil Nico did the same thing. The pants didn't fit him. 30 minutes is a small amount of time to try clothes on, and you think it's gonna fit, but it ended up being girl pants or something
Right,
like
yeah.
that. And he only had the shades and the dope button up. I thought that button up was cool. It was like denim on denim. He was looking a little crisp, and I thought it was a good look for him. But once again,
agree.
it was just one piece.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
One or
True.
two pieces.
True.
I was half and half on his outfit because I do understand he's from the West Coast,
Right.
but I feel like he tried to get that Compton feeling out of it, and even though he is from San Diego,
Which is not Compton.
so right, exactly. So, but I do understand how he was trying to touch upon that, but I think if he sticks to, well, this is just me. I think if he sticks to more of what he is used to, he'll be better at that.
Right. He was on
But
on
hey,
trend.
I'm just a host, so
I mean, I appreciate the effort that he put up because
Yeah.
I'm in San Diego. What is he gonna wear? Board shorts and
Oh,
flip flops?
right. Yeah.
I don't know what the rap scene is in San Diego. What they're wearing.
Well, they just said like he's the only one coming out of there.
That's it,
There's
right?
no other rappers coming out of San Diego.
Right. So his wearing the kind of maybe Compton inspired wear, as you put it, I didn't see a problem with that. I like the fact that he kind of held it down for the West Coast a little bit and put the West Coast style in there. And I really liked his outfit. I see him and Little Poopy kind of having the better of the 5 outfits. Yeah.
okay.
No, most definitely. He kept it for the West Coast, and if you're talking from like a retail perspective or like consumer perspective, East Coast, West Coast style, even South is like totally different. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Hairstyles to whatever, and we keep it really clean and just chill out here in California. So I think he represented well, but I feel like there could have been something added more. Because like a dude out in LA could just be walking down the street looking like that, but he looked fresh.
Right.
But any other person could look fresh. You know what I mean? If you're gonna represent SD or the West Coast, you know what I mean. And if no rappers are coming out SD, you want to give that oomph, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Uniqueness.
So then, right, exactly. We're gonna say the most unique look for last. So I'm gonna go to Lil Poopy first. Little Poopy threw it together. You know what I mean? He had the Jordans on.
He did have the
He had
Jordans.
the Reds on.
Shout out
Got
Brocktown.
the red 11 lows.
Number
See?
1 spot.
Right. You can't tell him though. You cannot tell him what to wear. Like he knows. In the beginning, I was like, oh man, he gotta listen just a little bit. But the dude knows what he wants and knows what he feels good in, and it worked out for him this week.
I was feeling some type of way when Papa Lewis was trying to give him constructive
Criticism.
Yeah, and he was just like, yeah. It's like, listen, I do understand, your own style, but it does help by having someone from the outside give you their point of view too.
Mm-hmm.
But as we saw in this episode, he came out on top. So I think.
did.
No more of Papa Lewis's help. So
Did April have? I'm trying to remember. Did April have much to say about his outfit besides the fit?
She said,
Bulkiness
she said it was bulky.
yeah,
Okay.
it was
With the
just about
jacket.
it, so,
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. So it was mostly fit for him because he killed that shoot though. Like
He did.
He did.
like each still that we saw when JD was swiping.
Right.
As I looked, I was like, that was a keeper. That was a keeper. That was a keeper, and his face was on the whole time.
Which actually, too, I just saw on JD's Instagram. He commented on every interview or every panel he goes on. Everyone's talking about Lil Poopy.
Right.
So
Right.
It's the
that
name.
might be a little
Is that a hint?
foreshadowing for the future or something. I mean, never know.
I don't know. But Lil Poopy is.
Never know.
But
Right.
I like Lil Poopy though.
Yeah.
I like what he's about. To be only 12 years old, and even though I think he should be listening to Lewis more, he's only 12 years old. But also to know what you want at 12 says a lot for you.
Oh, yeah.
I think in this type of industry, you have to know what type of artist you want to be, what lane you're going, because otherwise you're not going to be able to make it.
Exactly.
You have to have a lane that you stay in.
No, that's what I was feeling too. I was like, she needs to be listening and needs to be hearing out people, but just it's always working out for him. So I'm like stepping back at times now. I'm like, maybe I should just no, maybe he knows what he's talking about. He's 12, but damn, I'm not on national TV right now. You know what I mean? So what am I talking about here?
Right.
And he won the challenge. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let's go to Miss Super Peach
Super Peach.
to round out the 5 here.
First off, you gotta follow directions. The mom came through, spent an extra $3.12 when the budget was only $30. I understand you want your child to come in first. I get that, but you gotta follow directions first. And we saw that didn't even help out the situation.
JD said it himself. He's like, this is the second week that Super Peach and her mom have cheated.
on, son.
And I laughed at that. That
Come
was
on.
funny.
No, and he also mentioned though, he's like, I get it. You want to win, you will do anything to win. But what's gonna happen? Yeah, when if and when I do sign, your daughter, are you not gonna listen to what I have to say? He is the boss. You know what I mean?
Right.
Later
Or will
on,
there be this conflict every time he says something? They want to always have something to say.
Exactly. I mean, but later on, it kind of retracted in the episode where we see them sitting around, the parents sitting around later on, and Mama Peach was just like, well, whatever JD wants, we'll kind of give. It didn't happen this episode. Maybe it'll happen later.
That was too little, too late. She
Right.
saw where he was going with the whole ranking, probably,
Exactly.
and
Switch
I
it
think
up
that
real
was
quick.
trying to save face. I had an issue with the way they also were with the stylist.
Me too.
And
The
just
disrespect.
I mean, it was very disrespectful. I understand you want to exude confidence, but you also have to know where your lane is. And if somebody's been basically flown in to basically, put you into a certain demographic and help you along with a challenge that's been put on by the boss,
Right.
the person that's looking to sign you, and she's going to report back everything.
Yeah.
It's like you have to basically follow. You can't look at that and be like, oh yeah, I know everything. Oh, I know everything that I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, exactly. It's like, she's like, you have an answer for everything.
Right.
She's like, yeah.
Yep.
And she still didn't get it. She's like, yeah, I do. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. It was everything was I know. And it was like, come on now, you really have to take the time to listen.
No, it's crazy. The back and forth rant was getting uncomfortable for a while.
Yeah.
And I just got to hand it to April. Shout out to you, April, for keeping your calm and keeping your cool, because I know a lot of other stylists that have just been like, okay, bye, you're offset.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm going
Right.
to kick you offset because I need to do my work.
Right.
Let me just say, I know April was holding back because I just had a
You
feeling
felt it?
she wanted to go in, but I think for the
know.
sake of the show and their kids, let
And
me
their
not,
kids, yeah.
But I could tell April wanted to go in.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah, I mean, we saw it in the rankings, and it affected the rankings as well too. When
Majorly.
when JD, and her hooked up, and they kind of talked about everything, and we're talking about the looks, but more importantly, like if they were able to collab or not, you know what I mean, or if they were able to listen, because once again, in this whole, as we could tell the past 3 weeks, everything's about learning. And seeing how much they could take. And JD's not just looking for the person with the best bars, the person, who could sell, who could potentially sell the most records, but also somebody he could mold.
Right.
You want to be able to mold an artist.
Thank
An
you.
artist doesn't come in and it's like,
Correct.
boom, right away. You're set to go. You're about to be a multi-platinum selling artist.
Right.
Right.
There are levels to this, right?
There are.
So he wants to be able to do that with everyone, because obviously we saw with Chris Cross, we saw what he did with Mariah Carey. You know what I mean? Everything that he's done has touched golden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lil Bow Wow. So they better chill a little bit and
Right.
listen up.
And
Absolutely.
most labels do have formulas for music, formulas for the style.
Right.
You're basically put into a machine that says, okay, this is what we're gonna do. It's already a process that we do with artists. And
Right.
so if you're gonna come in there thinking that you're just gonna run things, it's not gonna happen.
No, they have A&Rs, they have marketing people, and there's everything is budgeted, right? If they lose sense on your project, they're out on money. They're taking a risk on you. So you should be cordial enough to, and respectful enough to take, to let them take the risk on you and follow
Absolutely.
and listen up. Because we saw in this ranking situation, there was some, like ADHD going on, as Mama Peach said.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That tripped me
We were
out for a
talking
second.
about when she was rapping to herself.
Yes.
What was that?
It's like,
What was that?
come on.
Do you really think she has ADHD? I need to
I
ask
think the
Mama
mom
Peach.
was just making up an excuse.
Yeah.
Because it's like she was just I don't want to say it was when the stylist was talking, because they could have cut it. We don't know. You know what I mean? It's but nonetheless, if somebody's up there talking, or they're shooting and they're trying to explain everything, you don't go and just start like swagging out in your voice in your head
No,
and not paying
you
attention to
don't.
the situation.
You
Like-
don't.
You don't.
And I think I said this last week too. I don't know, when it comes to reality shows, we know how they are, but I feel like
Right.
they do a lot of cutting.
Right.
And I
Sure.
feel like,
Right.
because how else can you explain the situation that she would be doing that while she was talking, other than in my mind to rationalize it, maybe it was at a different time. They just cut it together
Right.
to make it seem like that was.
But
going on.
nonetheless, it was still at that time.
But still at that time.
right?
But it had to
I'm
be
like,
at the time
why would
because
she be doing that?
They both spoke on it.
April called
Right.
her out on
The,
it.
the fact that they spoke on it, maybe it wasn't to the degree we saw. Maybe they edited to like, because I think going back to when they were approached when she had the outfit on, and the stylist was basically like, you know, is this what you want? Yeah. And she kept saying yeah over and over again. I could see that being spliced in.
Yeah. That
But
part.
the situation when they were back at the house and they were talking and how she was doing the whole thing, and
We
they were
saw
like,
that it
"What are
was
you
clear,
doing?"
yeah.
You know, he's like, what's going on?" Like what? And then called her out. I don't think that was editing. I think she was really doing that, and whether it was a device to kind of like, I'm not trying to pay attention to you, or if it was she was really just like on something else. You know what I mean? Either way, it just seemed very, very disrespectful.
Right. And we
totally
we forgot to mention, April asked during the shoot Mama Peach if she actually paid that extra money.
Yes.
Mama Peach said straight to her face,
Yes.
"No.
Yes.
We took stuff out." Like, and I was like, "Oh, here we go," because obviously they saw, right? They saw from the corner.
Right.
Once again, even if that was a pickup shot or not, like still, they know that they know what happened. So let's go into the rankings because, you know, starting from number 5, obviously, and I think this is where it should have been, was Super Peach. Right?
I agree.
Disagree?
Oh, absolutely.
That's where I got her.
I actually
Wholeheartedly.
disagreed.
You disagree with her being 5?
Yeah.
Why?
I had put Lyric at 5.
You put Lyric at 5?
Why?
Lyric at 5.
Even with the cheating?
I was
And the
looking at
outfit?
the overall look. I was gonna go with ripped up jeans over sweatpants. Like, I'm feeling some type of way about these sweatpants that Lyric did have.
But
on,
she didn't.
so.
She didn't stay in the sweatpants.
Well, yeah, obviously they switched it up, but if we're basing it off of what they chose and not what the stylist said here, Jake, then
Okay.
I'm gonna go with.
So would you
Lyric
put...
at 5.
The Lyric was at number 4. So
5.
would you have put...
I
you
just
switched it around?
switched them up, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Keep you at
I
4.
could see where Lyric would be number 4, you know, with the outfit she chose, with it just being one piece. But, you know, like I said, I personally was really feeling the second look on her, but she didn't really fulfill the challenge. And it was pretty laid back, the whole situation. And they needed her to be out there a little bit more.
Well, that's her, and she has to find a way to come out of her shell. You know, she even said herself, because they were like, you know, what's your vibe? You're like, oh, I'm laid back from the South. You know, she's the one from Texas. So, but she has to, even with being laid back, she has to find a way to come out of that in order to stand out, because she's going to keep hitting bottom, and it's not going to be good for her. I told you guys before, she's my dark horse, but I'm really worried that if she doesn't come out of her shell, she's going to stay at the bottom.
She's not going to move at all.
No.
Speaking of not moving, number 3,
Yeah.
Lil Nico, y'all.
Yeah, I mean,
straight in the middle once
in the middle
again.
of the pack.
Once again, and a lot of times it's you know, I'm still 3, at least I'm not 5, but this is a competition.
Right.
You need to stand out somehow.
Right.
So right now, everything he's been doing is just safe. So
Right.
he needs to do something.
I think a lot of what Nico does, whether it's something that he's doing purposely or not purposely, is I think he rests on the laurels that he had a record deal already. You know, he rocks that chain everywhere, which,
good point.
the chain or whatever, but to me, it's a crutch.
Right.
I see that chain being
Like
a
he's
crutch
done
for
it
him.
already, so
like,
yeah.
look, this is what I've already accomplished. You know, that's the chain represents his first single on this label that he used to be on. And he was 10 years old, 10 or 11, right? And so he's now 16. He's not the same kid. Even his mom said that.
Right.
He's not the same, and they're having a hard time putting him in the 16-year-old realm, which is why he keeps being in the middle and he playing it safe. And he needs to do something to explode and not rest on that. I think he needs to take that chain off. And I think if he takes that chain off and becomes more hungry, he'll do it. But I think he's just resting on that.
On that,
I
so
totally
the chain
agree.
kind of signifies I've been there before.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Because they always mention it in every cut, in every confession. They're always like, you know, we're looking for that second pro deal, your major record label deal.
Right.
Second, well, I could name a bunch of artists who have gone through like three labels, all pro labels, and they still haven't reached like, you know, 60,000 views on their Vivo account. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, or they haven't sold, you know, 10,000 singles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they've been on. So even if you get signed to like your number one, you know, agency, number one label, whatever, it's still a risk all the way up until the people start liking who you are.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I had actually I agree with most of what JD had for the rankings, except when it comes to Nico and Mulatto, I had them switched. So
you had Nico at 2?
I had Nico at 2 and Mulatto at 3.
Gotcha. Okay. Any reason why? Because we're gonna go into it anyways.
I preferred Nico's West Coast inspired outfit to Mulatto's Wicked Witch of the West.
On the South, she from ATL. Let's just say
Southern, whatever it's called.
Southern eccentric, you know, whatever. Papa. Well, I'm not even gonna go there. But yeah, so you know, Monique was 3, and Miss Mulatto was number 2. You know, and she's still staying up there.
Right.
You know, 2 and 1. That's a quick switch for her. So I still think she's still doing really, really well. And then Lil Poopy came up at number
through.
1.
Came from
Started
5.
from the bottom,
Right.
now we're here.
Right. That was a nice little quick switch for him, wasn't it?
Right.
And really, to be honest, I think, not to discredit, like I said, I like Lil Poopy, but not to discredit being number 1, but I think it was the best of the worst. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think in this challenge, everybody really did so poorly in the sense of what the challenge represented and coming together. I honestly think, as far as putting the outfit together, I think Miss Mulatto, even though we're saying the whole Wicked Witch thing, I think I wasn't totally mad at it. I think the lipstick was bad. I think the bad part about it, I think it was imaginative as far as what she was trying to accomplish. She was like, I'm trying to be the future. But she went so far in the future, she became 30 years old.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem. She just looked too old. But I think as far as putting something together and like really putting the time and effort in, I think she did a better job than Poopy in regards to that. It just didn't work. It just didn't. It just fell flat, and I think that's why Poopy just got the number 1 by default. He had your shirt on, you know what I'm saying? He had Jay's on.
Right.
He had the the little whatever jacket, which it wasn't anything. I mean, it looked good on him, and I think what saved him was that his pictures came out good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he didn't do. There wasn't a whole lot with what he put together.
So what do you guys think? We can go to predictions in a little bit, but with Poopy, if Poopy doesn't like. Is his face and his cuteness gonna always just help him outshine the situation? Because that's what it seems like it's been happening recently. Is that people remember him because he's a cute kid. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's talented as well too, but sometimes his cuteness overshadows the
Well, he
talent.
was last time.
Yeah, though he was. But I'm just saying, like JD said, everyone always asks about Poopy.
Right.
So in life in general, minus the rap game, like he's always gonna be talked about. But how about when he grows up? You know what I mean? Like we weren't sure if Little Bow Wow was gonna do well after being Little Bow Wow. Little Romeo, look at Little Romeo. You know what I mean? Little Romeo and Little Bow Wow were out at around the same time, and obviously Bow Wow did much better music than Romeo did. Romeo's still doing fine, obviously, right? But is that gonna hold him back later on? You think if he doesn't want to change?
This is the thing I think with Poopy. I think Poopy's only 12 years old. The fact that he's only 12 years old, I think he has the potential to have great longevity in youth. You know what I'm saying? Because he's so young.
Yeah.
If he was already 17 or 18 looking like that, I think it would be different.
That makes sense.
But the fact that he's only 12, he has longevity with that. Will he be able to transcend into adulthood? That's up to him.
That remains to be seen.
Right. I think that's up to him. He would need to be pliable, and I think he would have to have a strong camp around him that is able to move with the times, a good label that is allowing him to transcend. But I think where he is now, being only 12 years old, and if rapping the way he can, looking the way he does, I think right now he is currently, in my opinion, the one that could say right now and be like, I can go on tour with somebody.
Like it's good for him right now. Yeah.
Right now. Because of his package.
But then again, in my mind, 12 is not very far from 13, 14, where the styles and the preferences change.
It's a quick jump.
Yeah, it's a quick jump.
Yeah.
From preteen to teen.
Right.
And then before you know it, you're like Miss Mulatto, 17, who's at a whole nother kind of juncture between teen and adulthood almost with what she's doing. So I think, I see what you're saying, but I think also Poopy's going to have to, maintain good content, and have bars.
Oh, no, of course. His talent is going to have to still resound.
Right.
It's not just going to be a figurehead. I mean, he needs to back it up. But I'm saying he's shown the elements that he can spit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's not weak.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the weakest out of everybody as far as bars go or any of that. I just think that we're going to see as it progresses, as the challenges, happen. But I think right now, because everybody's talking about him, I think they're talking about him for a reason.
You know what? You just said something great, and let's get this show pretty interesting. Who is the weakest? Who would you say right now? is the week.
Sip tea.
Don't sip the tea. Come on now. Who is it? Actually, also the viewers at home, if you can comment below and share your opinion, who do you think is the weakest after episode 3? And Nino, we're starting off with you.
That's a tough one. That really is a tough one because everyone kind of had their own shine each week. You know what I mean? Back and forth. There, some people were always at highs. Some people were at high and lows. Dang. Okay. Young Lyric. She was a dark horse for me, but because she looks like she could have a look. You know what I mean? She could spit. You know what I mean? We've heard her. Lyrically she's great. But does the boringness also affect her performance? There's so many things that can go against her, and that if she doesn't hop on, the turn a new leaf, I think it's gonna be super dangerous for her, and it might just affect her. And I feel like she might be the weakest link because of that situation right now. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? I feel like everyone else can be molded, you know what I mean? And everyone else has tried to step their game up in a sense, but she stepped the game up and she came back real quick. You know what I mean?
True.
There wasn't a steady climb.
Okay.
Nico, hands down.
Nico,
hands down. No, really. And the reason why I say that is because out of everybody, I have not seen anything spectacular for him as of yet. They could have edited it out, but for me, when it comes to the bars, of all the challenges that we've seen thus far, the 3 challenges, I have not seen him do anything spectacular. There's not been any not excel in anything. I think everyone has had their moments where they've excelled. Super Peach came out at the very beginning and excelled. We've seen glimmers from other the contestants, but for him, and that's why he's in the middle, because he's just been just like this. Right. So for me, that makes him the weakest for me.
All right.
I'm gonna say it's too early to tell. That's not a cop-out. Hear me out. Because you're saying
we need answers, Sway. We need answers.
You're saying Nico, hasn't shown you anything, but then again, we're 3 episodes in.
How about right now?
And we haven't. Maybe his episode hasn't come out yet. Maybe he could blow us away in a future episode that hasn't shown yet.
But the point is, we're talking about right now.
Right now.
Come on.
In this time.
It's
in this
too
time.
early.
Plus, I got a couple of them following me on social media. I don't want to ruin any relationships.
No. This guy.
Listen, we are hosts.
For me, it's too
give
early.
our point of view here.
I like a little bit of all of them so far, and there's some things I don't like about all of them so far.
Right.
But to pick one and say at this point, for me, I need more information.
Okay.
All right.
How about from the 3 episodes that you've seen so far? I'm really trying to get this out. From the 3 episodes that you've seen so far.
Y'all know JJ's a politician, right?
Vote for JJ 2030.
Right.
Okay.
If there's any indication.
I'm getting it, y'all. I'm getting it.
No, there's not
Damn,
enough
I was
information.
close.
Not enough information.
That probing instinct.
When you're taking the test, you mark E, not enough information to answer the problem.
Okay.
There's an E? Okay.
D,
A, B, C, D,
remember the
5,
Scantron back in that's a long time ago.
Jimmy.
Me and Lem are actually on the same exact page, Lil Nico, and especially after the preview of the trailer of next week's, which they get dancing tested at. Of course, editing and all that such, but what we saw, he's not too good in that aspect as well. But based off of these 3 episodes, he still hasn't stood out. Only thing that has stood out is that chain, and that's about it.
But the deal that he had has to say something for him. I remember what you said as far as he's still resting on that whole fact that he had the deal. But him, of all 5 of them, from what I know, he's the only one that has had the deal and had the major label interest.
But he also doesn't have the deal anymore.
He doesn't have the deal anymore.
You could say he had the deal and he doesn't. So you could look at it both ways.
But then that could be anything.
It could be anything.
Why,
it could be anything. And the other thing too, and that kind of goes to my poopy point.
Poopy point.
Nice. My poopy point. And in the sense that because Poopy's 12 and the way he is right now, I think he could be a star right now. I think you look at Nico, he was 10 or 11 when he had the deal, right? So back then, he could have been like how Poopy is right now. You know what I'm saying? And now he's matured or gotten older or whatever and has grown out of that. And now the label is looking at him like, we can't really use you anymore. We don't know. Right. They didn't really talk about that. Yeah. But that that could be, an issue with it. But again, I think he needs to take that chain off.
Right.
I want to see him take the chain off and be at everybody's level and see where his grind is at.
Also,
I appreciate that. Yeah, I like that.
I haven't seen much personality out of him all that much.
Yes.
So,
I
said,
don't know who he is.
we're only on the 3rd episode.
Right.
Sure.
And in retrospect, to go with PC, JJ the talented over here, I'm gonna say they're all talented. They're all there for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were all there for a reason. So they all deserve to be there. Out of thousands and thousands of kids that they were looking at, these 5 were chosen. So hopefully they realize that in the next coming episodes, and it gets into their head that like we really need to work on this. I need to work on myself. I need to do this.
Absolutely.
Because the opportunity is so massive.
Yeah.
But let's get into predictions because I know we're going to be running out of time soon.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Boom.
Who wants to go first? JJ?
I'll go first. I'm not gonna be PC on this. I mean, I feel strongly about this, but the next episode looks like we're gonna have some dancing involved.
Right.
And my prediction is Super Peach is gonna kill it. She's gonna put the cape on and she's gonna do her dance thing. Because I've seen, I think it was Instagram videos or something like that of her doing her dance. I know she can dance.
She was getting it.
Yeah. So my prediction is that she'll
kill that.
She'll kill it. Yeah.
Okay. I think Mulatto is gonna kill it as far as the dancing goes, but I'm excited for the beef between the Parentals here. As you saw, there was a little discussion between Papa Lewis and Mama Peach, was it, or Nikki? One of the two.
No, it was Nikki.
But I liked how they're starting to go at each other's necks now, so I'm looking forward to it.
That's
forward
coming.
to it. Yeah.
That good for TV type situation?
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I think this is probably going to be my favorite episode because it has to do with the dancing. And it's like, I think as an artist, I think a lot of people, that's like the least, thing that they, or the thing they struggle with.
Yeah.
I think, and over the scope of things when it comes to it. So I think it's going to be an interesting episode. I do agree with you. I think Super Peach will excel in that. She'll probably take her island background roots, and put it to good, that use, what I'm saying? Put that island flavor on it. So I think she's going to excel. But it's going to be interesting to see how the rankings change after this episode.
Right.
And if Super Peach and her mom are going to change what they've been doing so far.
We're just going with what they think versus...
Correct.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Makes sense. Now I think the girls are going to... all 3 of them are going to take this challenge. I don't know who yet. I feel you on Super Peach because I have seen some of her social media stuff, but I also saw Miss Mulatto stuff. But, what's it called? Lyric is from H-Town. And they got a strong dance community out there. I've seen some of her videos, and she's getting down, she's feeling, she's grooving it.
Yeah.
So you might be surprised. We don't know.
Yeah.
This could be something
forget
that
about it.
Exactly. This could be something that'll boost her back up and something that she really needs.
For sure.
I'm really nervous for Nico because we saw the previews, and he needs to get out the middle. This might drop him even lower if he
Possibly.
if he does what he does.
I'm actually really nervous for my man Lil Poopy. I don't know what type of dance moves he's back, but I just see him as a laid back, chilling on the mic type.
Yeah.
I don't see him on his Chris Brown, Usher
I have a
type
feeling
thing.
that it's not going to be like super choreography, but they're just going to want them to be aware of their bodies and how they are on stage. Because when you're on stage and you're an artist, it's hard for you just to sit right there, and especially as a rapper.
Yeah.
You have to go from stage left to stage right.
Yeah.
From the back of house, to the front of house. They want to hear you. They want to feel you.
And they want that energy.
Exactly. And
Right, absolutely.
the person with the best bars, and if they're just like the worst live performer, it sucks because it's like wasted talent. You know what I mean?
True.
So you don't have to. I don't think they're gonna be like dancing, too much. But they're gonna be grooving and they're gonna be feeling themselves and they're gonna be aware of stage presence. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, there we go, guys.
Yes,
So
sir.
another episode wrap. I can't wait for next week. We'll see what happens. Then.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Matter of fact, we might have a special guest next week as well. So
Yeah.
make sure you guys stay tuned.
Make sure you
we
tune in.
can't spill the beans just yet, but definitely tune in.
Absolutely.
I'm going to
next week,
refrain
Exactly.
from advertising guests.
We'll see what happens. But once again, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Rap Game. This was season 1, episode 3, Stylist Swagga. It's your boy Nino. You can catch me at Nino Llanera on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
And you can catch me, super silky, Lem Gonsalves, all day, every day. Keep the poet saint.
Love it.
All right, you can catch me, Joshua Johnson, at JJ the Talented on both Twitter and Instagram.
You know it's your boy Jimmy V. You can catch me on the gram and Twitter at Be Your Own Dad. Make sure you comment in this comment section. Continue the conversation. Yep. We'll get back to you. And yeah, holla.
There we go. Good night, y'all. See you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.